Hey y'all, good evening. Thanks for joining me tonight for another episode of This of the Asia. Um if you guys have tuned into one of these shows before, you know how it works. I address questions that have been sent to my desk for me to give my perspective. I got a very interesting question that just came across the desk of the Asia that I am going to address tonight. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you go over to YouTube and you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Only thing you got to do is go over there, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you can get the notifications anytime I am live. Also, if you haven't already liked and followed the page here on Facebook for Death of the Asia, make sure that you like the page, you follow the page, and you share it so your friends can enjoy the content as well. It don't cost you nothing to share. Also, as you guys can see, there's some new merchandise that's in order. I am currently selling graphic tees. They are in production. So if you would like to place an order, go ahead and message me. They are $25 a piece. I am doing shipping as well as local pickup. So you could definitely message me in order to put in an order for your t-shirt. These t-shirts are some of the phrases and slogans that I use quite often. And you can go ahead and make an order by just sending me a message. And if you require shipping, then I will need your shipping information. Again, they're $25. They're unisex. The information is scrolling at the bottom of the banner. And you'll just cash out me at the Asia Robinson 901. I'm gonna have medium, large, and 2X. So let's get into this question that came across my desk. Let me pull it up, y'all. Just one moment here, one moment. So somebody sent the question across my desk, and the question was, you got your life together. You did the work, your ex hits you up. Do you think it's a good idea to entertain your ex? That is a very, very, very interesting question. I will go on record and say I don't think it's a good idea to entertain your ex. I don't think it's a problem for you being cordial with your ex. I don't think it's a problem with you maintaining a friendship with your ex. Sometimes your exes can become some of your best friends. A lot of times they know you better than anybody else. I don't have a problem at all with possibly reestablishing some type of friendship with an ex, but you want to be careful with that as well because you definitely want to make sure that you are not overlooking the core of a person because like I said in the title, a tiger doesn't change its stripes. So the core of people don't really change a whole lot. What they end up doing is finding different ways to channel their energy. It's the same way how like somebody that may be a dope boy and they have this entrepreneur hustle type of mentality and doing that is illegal. It doesn't mean that that mentality goes away. What they'll end up doing is channeling that same go get a mentality and maybe doing something like flipping houses or something like that. So the core and the essence of who they are is the same. They just found some type of another way to channel that particular energy or that character trait or what have you. So that applies to dealing with someone who just so happens to be an ex as well. So you have to be careful with that. You have to be mindful of the reasons as to why you stopped dealing with this person in the first place. What did this person do to you? And based on the context of this actual question that came across my desk, it says you got your life together. You did the work. Your ex hit you back up. So that means that there was a lot of healing that had to take place. There probably been things that happened in that relationship that crushed you, damaged you in some type of way, and you had to go through a process of relearning yourself. You may have lost yourself in that person, and that's um, gender inclusive. This could happen to a man or a woman. You may have lost yourself in that person, and you've gone through that process of healing, and now you're in a better place. And it takes some time to get over somebody. And the last thing that you would want to do is open yourself up and allow yourself to start back trusting this person and letting that person get in your good grace, and they hurt you again. That hurt gonna hurt a whole lot different, because now you're gonna feel like a fool. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's gonna really hurt, and you gotta understand that you can't go back to the place that hurt you and expecting to heal. It just don't work like that. I know that there are instances. I'm not unrealistic, and I'm not saying everything is just either or, but the thing is 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work. Sometimes it does work, but is it even worth the risk? And what is it, and are you really healed if you're actually even possibly considering entertaining someone that hurt you and broke you so bad? Are you really healed from that? Now, if it's a situation where you have an ex and something transpired in a relationship that made y'all break up that wasn't so bad, it's probably y'all just kind of grew apart, or it was a mutual agreement. Nobody was like completely disrespected or violated or anything. Then at that point, yeah, you could possibly consider. But a lot of times you have grown past that person, because if y'all grew apart, 9 times out of 10, this person was on one level, you was on another level, and y'all still growing at a different pace. So y'all are still in two different places. And sometimes the familiarity of an ex, it feels good, considering that dating these days is really hard. And sometimes you want to just be able to fall in the arms of someone who knows you, and just kind of fix that and see if it could work. But if you've already went through the healing process, I don't think that it is necessary for you to entertain them to an extent where you decide that you want to actually be in a relationship with them. And why are they coming back? That's the question. Why are they coming back at this point? Because if you have healed, then some time has went by, right? Maybe some years went by. You're healed. Why is this person coming back now? 9 times out of 10, if it's the person that's coming back, trying to come back, they're the person that did the wrongdoing. They're the reason why the relationship isn't what it is anymore. So why are they coming back? So it sounds like throughout the duration of the relationship that they took you for granted. And when you guys decided to break up, this person went on with their lives. You went on with your life. And the whole time while they was pretending to move forward, they probably was trying to find you and somebody else. And they couldn't find you and somebody else. And now you're happy. Now you're in a better place. They're still searching. You where you want to be. You where you need to be. Ain't no sense of looking back. They're still searching. They're still on the hunt. The grass wasn't greener on the other side, come to find out. So you got to take that in consideration. You have the people that'll come back and say, you was the best thing that ever happened to me and all of that. I don't need you to figure out that I'm the best thing to ever happen to you by you actually breaking my heart, me leaving you. You go out here and start entertaining other people and being with other people, and then you want to play in the field and you come back to me trying to be with me. I don't want your wild ass. Stay on out there. And sometimes people think to entertain an ex because they still look for closure. And sometimes people get a kick out of the fact that somebody from their past still wants them. One thing I don't believe in is closure. I do not believe in closure. And hear me out, because I know it might sound weird, and I know a lot of people feel like healing comes with closure. But again, you cannot heal in the same place that you were hurt at, right? So you're looking for closure, or you're seeing this as some type of closure, just the fact that they're after you or whatnot, and you kind of feel better that you still got it or something like that. I don't believe in closure for this reason here. Is a lot of times when people want closure, they want the person that hurt them to tell them something good to make them feel better. You don't need that. You don't need that. If somebody did something to you, the only thing you need to do is making an executive decision to leave them alone. That's the only thing that you have to do, is make that executive decision to leave them alone. You have to make that up for yourself in your own head. You have to find peace within the situation for yourself. You can't look to this other person to make you feel good, because at the end of the day, your heart is still broken. You are no longer together. And it just is what it is. Just let it go and just move on. And I think a lot of times with people, they feel like somebody is in control of their happiness. What somebody else is doing controls their happiness. When you are in control of your happiness, you decide what's going to happen in your life and who's going to be in your life. That other person don't get to decide that. That's something that you decide. So you don't need that person to tell you anything to make you feel good. You have to make an executive decision for yourself. And a lot of people are afraid to do that. A lot of people are afraid to create healthy boundaries and stick to those actual boundaries. You know what I want people to do? I want you to be doing so good. I want you to be doing so good and feeling so good about yourself to where the person who feel like they even have a chance to come back, a second guess that and look over and say, you know what, I don't stand a chance with that right there. I need to go ahead and go on about my business, and this man or woman is going to be the one that just got away. It just is what it is. It's a new day. Just keep it moving. That's what I suggest. Just go ahead and keep it moving. It's no sense of looking back in the past. And I notice a lot of times when people try and get back with an ex or whatever, a lot of times when people try to get back with an ex, they go through that whole process of what you did to me, why I left, where we're at now, and things like that. You still opening reopening those old wounds. So all the healing that you did won't even be worth it at the end of the day. You end up opening up all those old wounds and talking about that old stuff, and it never fails. If I'm lying, stop me. It never fails. You're gonna always end up talking. To this day, there are some exes that I am actually cordial with, and every now and then some of the things that we experience with each other that we could laugh with each other about now, it comes up. So it's definitely going to come up if you're in a situation where you're thinking about entertaining your ex and possibly developing a new relationship with them. It's definitely going to be something. So now I don't think it's a good idea. The only way I feel like it probably is worth considering is if you guys have children together. if you guys have children together, I do feel like, depending on why you guys broke up, if it wasn't any domestic violence or anything like that, or like ultimate betrayals or things like that, I feel like it is worth considering. I wouldn't tell nobody to just stay together because of the kids or anything, but I feel like if it could work and you guys have kids, then it's best to try to make it work. That's the only time I think it's worth trying out. Otherwise, mm-mm. I personally I've never done it before. I have had an ex that I felt like was the absolute love of my life. And this particular person was someone who was going through personal things, had absolutely nothing to do with me, but it began to affect me in a relationship. But what he was doing, what he was going through, it didn't have anything to do with me, so to speak. It wasn't because of me. He wasn't cheating on me, hitting on me, or anything like that. He was dealing with some things internally, and there were times when he would do things, maybe experiencing bouts of depression and things like that, to where I would get scared when he would act a certain type of way. But I was madly in love with him when I broke up with him. I was just a little scared because I'm like, you kind of acting like you gonna do something to yourself, and if you'll do something to yourself, then I feel like you'll do something to me, and I don't want to be around when them 30 start bursting. I'm like juvenile. I'd rather see it on TV than to see it in person and have my head hurt with the 30s be bursting. I don't want to be around when them 30 start bursting. So I was like, you know what, babe, I love you to death, but I love me more. I'm going to have to exit. And there was a point in time when we did have a discussion, and I did let him know, listen, you need to go ahead over here and do the work. I'm going to do what it is that I need to do. And once you get yourself together, if I am still available, I will consider being with you. Once I see that you have gotten a proper therapy and medication or whatever you needed to help yourself. Now, in that case, yes. Something like that, he didn't do nothing to me. He was just going through something, and it was just too much for me to handle. A lot of people probably would say, well, you just should have stayed and stuck it out with him. No, 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 no. No, ma'am. We ain't trying. I'm not finna try to see what you gonna do. See if you finna jump over a cliff or not. I'm not finna sit here and wait and see what you gonna do. And it ended up being a situation where time passed. I moved on. He had moved on. Time passed, and we ended up crossing each other path again. Once we crossed each other path again, and we started talking to each other and trying to see where it could possibly go, some weeks went by. It probably wasn't even 3-4 weeks that went by. And all of those things that were happening at the time that made me leave are the same things that were still happening. And it was just a different layer of it. And it actually ended up being a little bit worse, because now you had that whatever situations back in the past that was causing you to feel this way. You done lived a lot longer, so now you got other situations that came up that add to your stress and your depression. So now we have been apart for over 5, 6, 7 years, probably more than that. So you got all of these other things that you've been dealing with in that time frame, and now here it is, like 7 years later, and you still talking about you ready to end it all. Every time the wind blow, you ready to end it all. I really don't have time for that. I was like, nah, I can't do this one with you, sir. And I didn't, and it was very unfortunate, because there was somebody that I would have definitely consider being back with, but I couldn't do it. So even in that situation, it just didn't work. And so I'm not saying that it can't work. And I'm not going to use my situations to project anything on anybody who is considering to make something work with their ex. But we've all seen what happens in these particular situations. So yeah, it could work sometime, but the chances of it, nah. And you're gonna feel some type of way. You're gonna feel real stupid. You're gonna feel real stupid if that person end up hurting you. And especially if they end up hurting you the same way they hurt you the first time. You're gonna feel real stupid. And then you're gonna feel like that person owes you something. A lot of times when you go in that situation and you've been with you getting back with an ex, people feel like that person now has to prove themselves. Like, you don't give them a clean slate. They don't get to walk in with a clean slate just because you guys are entertaining the idea of being with each other. That person don't get to walk in with a clean slate. So if you're not ready and willing to let go of that hurt, it's not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. I don't suggest anybody be with somebody who has done something that is like one of their things that is a deal breaker. Because the mass majority cannot just move forward, cannot just let stuff go. The mass majority cannot just let stuff go, unfortunately. So if you are one of those people, which 9 times out of 10 you are, because I said the mass majority, if you are one of those people where you just can't let stuff go, don't even worry about it, because it's gonna come up. And nobody wants to be constantly dealing with the past, i.e. the person, and having to work through the past with this particular person. Nobody wants to go through that. So it's best to just cut those ties and keep it moving. I'm one of those people that if someone is an ex of mine, a lot of times I try not to. I be cordial with them or whatever, because it's nobody has ever done anything to me in a relationship where it was a case that made me hate them, or you know how you see those messages and those things on Facebook and stuff like that that says, if you seen your ex on the street, would you help them? And that if they were on fire, would you piss on them if they on fire? I wouldn't want to see anybody that I've dealt with to their capacity be down bad and hard on their look out here. I wouldn't want to see that. So I don't wish no ill will on anybody, especially somebody I used to sleep with. Like, that's ridiculous. But as far as entertaining them past that, I just I don't see how it can work. If anybody out there, if y'all can see how it works, so let me know. But to answer the question, it came across my desk. Nah. If you have children and you're considering being back with an ex because of the kids, be very mindful of how the kids actually feel about that person. But because too often people decide to get back together for the kids, thinking they help the kids, and the kids don't even like the other parent. So you need to make sure that the kid likes the other parent before you consider get back in a relationship thinking that you're doing the kids a favor, and the kids don't even like these people for real. So just read the room. Definitely read the room. Cause quiet. No, I ain't gonna even say that. Quiet as is kept. Just because I put it this way. Just because someone lives in a house with you doesn't mean that they're present. Just because someone lives in a house with you doesn't mean that they are beneficial to you at all. Sometimes the two parents that had the kids being in the house together can create a more toxic environment for the kids than a single parent household. And you know me, if you know me, you know I don't advocate for single parent households at all. You know, I feel like the best thing that you can do is try to provide your children with a family before you even start having kids. I feel like a family needs to be established before you even have kids. Whatever your family dynamic is, that's okay. I'm not telling you, you know, how that should look, how that picture should look as far as the family dynamic is, but whatever your lifestyle and orientation is, that needs to be established, in my opinion, before you start having kids. But just because it's two of y'all in the household with kids, it doesn't mean that the kids are benefiting or prospering or they're going to be better people or some law-abiding citizen because there are two parents in the household. There could be so much toxicity and dysfunctional activities going on in that household, and it could just ruin the child. So again, make sure that the kid likes you. But I'm really enjoying these questions that are coming in. I want y'all to keep these questions coming. I hope I have addressed this question that is fitting for the person who sent the question in to me. Whenever you guys send these questions in, I do post them on the page. They are anonymous. Nobody is going to know that you sent them in. When I address them, it's anonymous. Nobody will ever know that it was you that asked the question. You can ask me a question for yourself. You can ask me a question for a friend. One thing about it, and anybody, well, people probably not going to tell you because they don't want you to know that they were the ones that sent in certain questions. But I will say this: when people send in questions, I don't address it with them. I don't talk to people about the questions that they sent in. That way I'm able to do this and able to just go off the top of my head and give my most genuine, purest thought about the particular situation. So I won't feel rehearsed or anything. And then now I don't have anything to say about the situation because I've exhausted everything by talking to this one person about their question that they sent in. So no, I won't address the question with you. You don't have to worry about me going back and forth with you about a question or anything. You just drop the question down in my inbox, or you can email me at deskofdeasia@gmail.com. You could go ahead and email me or whatever, and I'll address those questions. Now, sometimes every single question is not going to be its own little show. That's not how it works. If it's a question where, you know, I can address it fast, like this one, it's a really simple, cute little short one. If it's something that I can address fast, I might couple that with some other questions. Just so happens this was the only question that came through, and the other ones that they really don't mesh well with this particular question, so I didn't put it in the lineup, and they were just really kind of like yes or no type things. So it won't worth all of that, you know, all that static, but I am going to put it with something. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the simplicity or the simplicity of the questions that you guys send in. That it doesn't matter. It could be something really simple, but I'm going to put it along with some other ones. Definitely gonna do that. So again, thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Like I said, if you haven't followed the Facebook page, make sure you go ahead and follow the Facebook page. Like it, subscribe to it. Make sure that you like and follow the YouTube, Facebook, and YouTube. And get you one of these damn shirts. Y'all see what's up. You know, a drop bitch could never. Get y'all one of these t-shirts, honey. They $25. Fresh off the press. Got a new shipment coming in Thursday, and I go ahead and be getting those out. And just hit me up. Just message me about that. And we'll get them orders sent out. So again, thank y'all for tuning in tonight for another episode of Desk of Deasia. The love and support is very much appreciated. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm about to tune out. Y'all have a good one.